Hello students and parents, welcome to the Test Prep Card channel. Today we are going to discuss in this video about West Bengal Joint Entrance Examination, the exam pattern and all the other associated details like some high importance topics, the high scoring topics I am going to tell you about will actually help you fetch more marks as your preparation will be much more focused. So let's begin, and I would request you to please subscribe this Test Prep Card channel if you are new to it. And please complete this video, and I hope that it will definitely be much beneficial for all those who are preparing for this West Bengal Joint Entrance Examination. So as we know, it's going to be conducted July 11th in 2021. So you can fill up the online application forms, but you have to remember that the examination is going to be offline. So it will be a pen and paper based OMR sheet based examination, and it will be a multiple choice question examination. So you should prepare accordingly. So in this video, I'm going to tell you in detail what are going to be the high value important topics that you should focus more upon while in your preparation. So let's begin with a brief overview. I have told you in the earlier video as well about the other details, the fee structure, the various courses being offered. So kindly refer to that video. So let's begin with the exam pattern, the high importance topics as well, to help you score more marks in this West Bengal Joint Entrance Examination. So you know that it's going to be conducted on July 11th. So you still have a lot of weeks to prepare, and please focus on these topics that I'm going to tell you in the video. So let's begin with the topic that what is it going to be like, the exam pattern, how is it going to be conducted. For those who have no idea about it, this is going to be very beneficial for you. So the exam pattern is that there are two question papers. Usually in the 11 to 1 am slot, there is the mathematics paper, paper 1, and then there is paper 2, which is physics and chemistry combined. So it is from 2 to 4 p.m. usually. So both the papers thus are 2 hours each. So we need to look at the number of questions in each of these subjects. As we know that mathematics is paper 1. So there are actually a total of 75 questions asked from the discipline of mathematics, and the total marks are 100. So there is not equal weightage, as you can know, 75 questions for 100 marks. Number of questions, there are category wise divisions. Category 1 has in mathematics paper 1 50 questions. Then there is category 2, which has one question for 2 marks each, and that total number of questions that will be there in the mathematics paper 1 in category 2 will be 15 questions. And then there will be a category 3, again each question for 2 marks, but there will be a subtle difference that I am going to tell you ahead in the video. So for mathematics paper 1, category 3 will have 10 questions. So total is 50 questions in category 1, 15 questions in category 2, and just 10 questions in category 3. So that it is a total of 75 questions being asked for 100 marks, because the category 1, each question, the 50 questions that we have is for 1 mark only, and the subsequent category 2 and category 3 have each question for 2 marks. So this is total of 75 questions for 100 marks in the paper 1 of mathematics. Then we need to look at the other paper, which is paper 2 for physics and chemistry. So you need to know that what is the difference, like those of you who do not have a mathematical background, they can also attempt this. But the only thing is that in this, when you attempt this paper, those who will be appearing for both paper 1 and paper 2, that is for mathematics and physics chemistry as well, they will be awarded a GMR by the West Bengal Joint Entrance Examination Board, and they will be eligible to seek admission in engineering, technology, architecture as well as pharmacy courses in all the institutes that are covered. But those who appear only in paper 2, that is just physics and chemistry and not mathematics, they will be awarded a PMR by the West Bengal Joint Entrance Examination Board, and they will be eligible for admission in pharmacy courses only, and that too except for Jadavpur University, which has made it conditional to appear in mathematics as well. So that's clear about the exam pattern and how it's going to matter. So let's proceed ahead and also look at the number of questions that are asked category wise, category 1, 2 and 3 that I just explained for mathematics paper 1. For paper 2 and paper 3, paper 2, which has chemistry and physics, both the sections. For that, those who have to appear for that will have to consider that there are 30 questions each for physics and for chemistry in the category 1, where each question is for 1 marks only, while the category 2, where each question is for 2 marks, there will be 5 questions each for physics as well as chemistry in paper 2. And in category 3, which again is each question for 2 marks only, there will be 5 questions each for physics and chemistry. So that makes a total of 40 questions, 30 plus 5 plus 5 in each of the categories for both physics as well as chemistry. So the total will be 40 questions for physics and 40 questions for chemistry. The total marks will be 50 questions, 50 marks for physics and 50 marks for chemistry. So that makes the paper 2 for a maximum marks of 100. So that is equivalent to the mathematics paper 1, each for 100 marks, but the number of questions do vary. In paper 1, there are 75 questions for mathematics. In paper 2, there are 40 questions for physics and 40 questions for chemistry, for a total of 50 marks for both the sections, making a maximum marks total of 100 for the paper 2. So I hope the exam pattern is pretty much clear, and also that those who want to appear for both, they want to be considered for pharmacy as well as engineering, architecture as well as technology, they will have to keep in mind that they will have to appear in both paper 1 and paper 2 for mathematics and physics chemistry. But those who are just focusing on pharmacy courses, and that too except for Jadavpur University, they can simply appear in paper 2, which is chemistry and physics. But I would advise you all that please do appear in both the papers, even if you do not wish to take all the courses, so that you are still eligible to be considered in case there is a need. So let's move ahead. This was all about the examination pattern. If you have any questions left, please, after subscribing to the test prep card channel, leave out your questions in the comment section and they will definitely be addressed very soon. So moving ahead in this video, we also need to focus upon the high important topics, the high value topics that can fetch you much more marks if you focus well in those particular topics in your preparation journey. So what are those topics? But before that, we also need to know certain tips how you should approach the overall subjects, that is mathematics, physics and chemistry, as well as also the syllabus. So with regards to the syllabus, let me tell you that the syllabus for mathematics is as simple as that. You just have to address sets, relations, and the other topics will be, for mathematics, the other topics are definite integration, indefinite integration, three-dimensional geometry, theory of equations, vectors, permutations and combinations, probability, matrices and determinants, beg your pardon, and complex numbers as well as limits. So that is the overall syllabus for mathematics. Then before getting to know the important topics for physics and chemistry, you also need to have a look at the syllabus for each of it. So let me begin with the syllabus of physics first. There are a lot of other topics like laws of motion, bulk properties of matter, gravitation, electrostatics, viscosity, thermodynamics, kinetic theory of gases, oscillation and waves, atomic physics, current electricity, solid state electronics, optics 1, optics 2, that is ray optics and wave optics, and then nuclear physics. So this is the overall syllabus of physics that you need to prepare for. So coming to maths, as I've already told the important topics, so the overall syllabus for maths is algebra for paper 1, trigonometry, coordination geometry of 2 dimensions, coordination geometry of 3 dimensions, and calculus. So let me come to the syllabus for chemistry that you need to focus upon is atoms, molecules, and chemical arithmetic, periodic table, very important topic, let me tell you that, and chemical families. Then there is atomic structure, there is radioactivity in nuclear chemistry, just like there was nuclear physics in the paper of physics. Solid, liquids, and gaseous state will be there in chemistry as well. Chemical bonding and molecular structure, coordination compounds, and then there will be chemical energetics and chemical dynamics. So I hope the syllabus for chemistry is clear as well. So let me come back to the high important topics of mathematics. So as I told you earlier, sets, relations and functions, definite integration, indefinite integration, three-dimensional geometry, theory of equations, vectors, permutation and combination, probability, matrices, determinants, complex numbers and limits are going to be the topics to focus upon to help you get better marks in mathematics paper 1. Coming to paper 2, chemistry and physics, let's begin with the important topics of physics: laws of motion, wave motion, rotational motion, simple harmonic motion, current, electricity, electrostatics, center of mass, impulse and momentum, then solids and semiconductor devices, magnetic effects of current and magnetism, modern physics, atomic models. Then you have heat and thermodynamics, physics of nucleus, and work energy power. These are the important topics to look out for. These are obviously commensurate to the syllabus topics that I just enumerated for all the 3 subjects. But you need to specifically focus upon these dimensions amongst the topics given in the syllabus. For physics, let me move on to chemistry, which has a lot of dozen odd important topics that will help you fetch better marks. So these are for chemistry, paper 2, for 50 marks, chemical thermodynamics, coordination compounds, transition elements, very important, D and F block, particularly focus on that. Although I will also advise you to focus upon P block elements as well as S block elements. They are very important, very fundamental, basic. You need to be very clear about it for the multiple choice questions. But keep in mind that D and F block elements are transition elements. So therefore, by virtue of being that, they are much more important. So moving ahead, the other topics for chemistry which are high value topics that you need to particularly focus on while in your preparation. There is a topic chemical bonding, redox reactions, then ionic equilibrium, then alcohol, phenol, ether, carboxylic acid and its derivatives, chemical equilibrium, general organic chemistry and chemical kinetics are the topics that you should particularly focus upon while preparing for chemistry. So before I get to the close of this video, let me tell you some tips for all these 3 subjects that I have mentioned as part of paper 1 and paper 2 of the West Bengal Joint Entrance Examination. So the preparation tips for mathematics I would like to tell you will be that please build strong concepts. There are very few topics as I mentioned in the syllabus and also the high important topics. So these are few topics, but you particularly need to focus upon this building strong concepts, because it's not a difficult nut to crack. I would like to tell you in this West Bengal Joint Entrance Examination, maths is not that much difficult. If you work on the concepts of every chapter that I have just mentioned in the video and understand what is the theory behind them, it will definitely help you in solving different kinds of questions. And the paper 1, which is for 100 marks, so which is very important for those who are looking to seek admission in agriculture, in technology, in engineering and architecture courses, they should actually focus upon all these questions in the first paper of mathematics. So that will help you solving different questions if you build strong fundamental concepts of each and every chapter. So most of the students, what they do is do not care about the theory behind various concepts of maths, and hence are unable to score well in this very important paper 1 for 100 marks. So do not make this mistake. I would request you not to make this mistake. You still have a lot of time at hand before that July 11 examination this year of West Bengal Joint Entrance Examination. So try to grasp the basics and move on to the next step. Then the second thing that I will advise you is learn deriving formulae. Formulae are obviously the backbone of mathematics as a subject. So difficult to learn and memorize all the formulas from the syllabus. So at the same time, you need to know that without knowing it, you can't solve the question. So please actually learn the deriving formulae. So as to tackle this, all the West Bengal Joint Entrance Examination aspirants should know how to derive the formulae and then memorize them, so that in case if it is required for you to derive them and it goes out of your memory in the examination hall, you are able to derive it well there and then on itself if necessary. And the last tip for mathematics as a subject I will like to tell you is practice all the problems diligently. That is, it's all about practice, as you know, in mathematics. So the more you practice, the better you get at solving all the questions. So please do that. I would request you that. And also it helps you in remembering the formulae well and their application as well as learning shortcuts. So coming to the tips that I have for physics as a discipline, paper 2. So make a synopsis of all the chapters when you study and understand the physics. Make a synopsis, bullets and note points for each of the concepts, diagrams and block diagrams that you have to study, the flowcharts as well. This will help you to visualize the various concepts and memorize important points and formulae. If you find any specific formula or concept hard to understand or apply to solve all those questions that you have in the examination, then go through the synopsis couple of times. For that, you will have to look at the previous year question papers as well, right? So the second tip for physics will be work on physics numericals. So it's because physics as a subject needs a high level of conceptual knowledge and application skills. So this can only be achieved through rigorous practice of questions, reading and understanding theory. So solve as many practice questions as possible. I would advise you that. Improve your speed. Physics questions can be very tricky at times, let me tell you that. So you might actually spend a lot of time in the examination hall which you cannot afford to. So practice, keep track of the time you're spending, because in the real exam you will just get a 1 hour for physics and chemistry each. So increase your speed to solve questions. That will be my last advice for physics for all of you who are preparing for this year West Bengal joint entrance examination. And last but not the least, chemistry has 50 marks against under its belt. So in the paper 2, 1 hour will be for chemistry. So my tips, the 3 tips that I will like to give you as a mantra for this year's West Bengal joint entrance examination will be that understand the basics of chemistry. Just like you understood the basics of physics, please, it requires a lot of remembrance in the part of information from formulas, equations, reactions, which have complicated steps. So this may be very difficult, and it's like for a human it's almost impossible to remember all. So the best way to deal is to have a crystal clear understanding of the basics. So be very clear about the basics, and that will definitely go a long way in helping you in the examination. So understand the chemicals, reactions and equations. So rather than actually trying to memorize the various equations and reactions, understand actually how a particular reaction works. So that is going to be very critical, and practice questions based on that and understand the kind of how a particular kind of reaction actually works. So instead of just merely memorizing them. And my last tip for you before I conclude this video for the chemistry subject paper 2 for West Bengal joint entrance examination is going to be that practice sufficient questions regularly. You still have some weeks before the exam. While you are preparing for it, regularly practice problems, both numerical as well as conceptual. And if you have to score high in chemistry, please do stick to these 3 mantras that I have given for each of these subjects, mathematics, physics and chemistry, so that you are able to do well in both of your papers, paper 1 as well as paper 2 for the West Bengal joint entrance examination. So before I conclude the video, for all the students who are preparing for it as well as their parents, I would like to wish you all the best. And please do follow the tips that I've given in this video, as well as the exam pattern you need to be very clear about, and accordingly you have to prepare. So I wish you all the best. Thank you so much for watching the video, and do subscribe to the test prep card channel.